Yes, hello viewers. What do you call a man who lives in a shed and has no prospects? Well, I don't know, I just call him the guy.
So we do have the new Snap G, and it's addressed many of the complaints that we had about the DJI Pocket 2 and the Pocket 1, but it's a mixed bag, and I'm going to go through 18 things you need to know. Maybe we'll do 18 or 19 things you need to know about the Snap G. Let's get started, we don't have time to waste. Sell me this pen.
Sell me this pen.
It's a nice pen.
Number one on the list, this is a massive 2-inch LCD screen. Check this out.
This is the Snap G and it comes in quite a nice package. Some molded foam, it turns on in a couple seconds, and this is the comparison with the DJI Pocket 2 screen. The camera does have a brightness control from the menu. You can go down to 50% or all the way down to conserve battery. You can still see it when it goes really low, but I just leave it on the max brightness, and I think my battery doesn't last as long because of it, but I like seeing the screen.
Now the Snap G is quite big, but it doesn't feel too big when you hold it. I mean, that's what she said. So
Yes.
Let me just show you a size comparison of this versus the other cameras that you might be accustomed to.
So we have the original DJI Pocket 1 on the left, the Fimi Palm 2 Pro, and then followed by the Pocket 2, and then the Thinkware Snap G. You can see it's a lot bigger.
I mean, if somebody was walking past you, let's do that test, and they were filming with this thing in public, would you notice it? This is an important test. Now another good feature of this camera is it has got a removable battery. Now every single small micro gimbal I can remember, like the Pocket 1, the Pocket 2, the PGYTech and the Fimi Palm 1, 2 and the Pro version of that never had a removable battery. Not only that, I think the Pocket 1 had an 875 milliamp battery. This one goes 2000 milliamp battery. It's actually a great step forward for little gimbal cameras. You notice the pillar starts to curve a little bit. That's a little bit of barrel distortion, which we can rectify in DaVinci Resolve in 3, 2, 1. Is that better? DaVinci Resolve, barrel distortion, fixed up. So I mean, it's one click of a button. You can fix that if you don't like it, but it is nice and wide. And I think I've sorted out the sound. I set it to 75% external mic volume. My Rode Wireless goes at -9 dB, and this gives you quite strong sound. I was listening to it and I thought it was quite nice. What do you think? Image quality wise, not bad. Is it up to the standard of the DJI Pocket 2? It's close. I mean, it's close. And I think they might do a few firmware upgrades on this camera. I set the exposure compensation to +0.7. I feel like it sometimes underexposes a little bit. So this is what you can expect. I am using a wireless microphone. It's tucked under my shirt at the moment because I lost the little wind thing.
So far so good, the colors look quite nice, everything's very stable. It is a gimbal by the way, and I'm riding my electric skateboard.
Look at the jackass graffiti in this TR. Freaking idiot. He has to do it like 9 times every time. It's a kid from the school probably. There's a school over there. Hope your kids graffiti your car one day, you idiot. Anyway, the nice thing about the Snap G, it's got the little trigger button over there, and it's really nice. It reminds me of the Ronin SC. So if you were like that and you wanted to double click, sort of center everything, you can come back to there. And the nice thing is, if you triple click it, very cool stuff. And I'm in video mode 4K 30. You can go to 4K 60, but 4K 30 at the moment.
You've already heard the external microphone sound. Let's hear the internal.
Okay, so this is the sound on the DJI Pocket 2, not using an external microphone. And this is the sound on the Snap G, not using an external microphone. And if we put them on a split screen, you'll probably notice there's quite a difference. Let's get some of these graffiti colors in the image. I live in a good neighborhood, I swear. But let's just do a split screen here of the DJI Pocket 2 and the Snap G. It's not really a fair comparison. The DJI Pocket 2 is quite a bit more expensive. It's got a bigger sensor, and the Snap G, you know, that's fine. Their first camera, they've done pretty well. When I look at them side by side, the Snap G is a lot bigger, which is pretty cool. Some people might not like that. Some people like the small form factor of the Pocket, and some people will like this big screen. It doesn't look like it's raining that hard, but it's coming down quite a bit. We've had a lot of flooding recently in Australia. You might have noticed. I was okay, luckily. My place was okay, but a lot of people closer to the city totally flooded, lost everything. You might have seen it on the news. Who knows? As for the playback quality on the Snap G, it's got a built-in speaker, so let's just show you that. Sound on the DJI Pocket 2, not using an external microphone, and this is the sound on the Snap G. So that's playing into my external lav mic. Pretty cool. Plays back your footage.
I'm happy to see the Snap G has 4K 60 frames per second, which comes in at number 8 on my list. It doesn't look too bad. I'll discuss the other slow motion modes soon. The Wi-Fi connection is excellent, fast and never disconnected once.
So you should see a little white box around my face at the moment, and that's like, I think that's Face ID.
If you tap the screen again, it'll go into AI tracking mode. The AI tracking mode is not that accurate in my view. You'll see it puts a yellow box around your face, but I did numerous tests and it wasn't that accurate. You can do some form of object tracking. I think this is a contrast-based system, and sometimes it works really well, other times it doesn't work at all. This was one of the best examples I had of the object tracking. It was keeping that helmet in frame most of the time, and it worked really well. Other times it would try to track my face and just randomly get stuck on something else. They need to improve this.
I mean, it is tracking me at the moment, but if you notice, if I go behind something like this, or even just walk out the frame, it'll kind of pick me up. But if you walk a little bit further away, it just randomly, I don't know, it's very inaccurate. I can't really say it's that good.
The menu interface is very snappy and works really well. It's a well-designed Korean product, it seems. You can see your resolutions, frameworks, and more detailed settings like external mic up to 100%. There's a panorama option, JPEG RAW, firmware info, system information. There's also gimbal settings, gimbal sensitivity, high, medium or low. There's a 1080p slow motion option, which I'll show you shortly, a hyperlapse option, time lapse. You can save various configurations or even see your settings like follow, FPV or pan mode with various other tracking options over there.
There's a little tripod thread on the bottom, which is really nice, which is nice because it means you can attach anything. And there you are, you're pretty secure, you're on your tripod, which is really good.
The Snap G has an SNV mode, 15 frames per second for low light. If we go to the normal Snap G 4K 30, you'll see it's darker, although the Pocket 2 is noisier at 6400 ISO. The SNV mode probably just opens your shutter speed for longer. It looks pretty good compared to the Pocket's biggest sensor.
The Snap G's also included something that was missing on the DJI Pocket 1 and 2. It's video mode motion control, which is quite nice. I did a little test with it. It actually works pretty well, the interface. Let me show you the interface and then a quick example of what it looks like.
When in video mode, on the bottom right, there's 3 little waypoints. You just have to choose your record time, and then you have to go in and move your joystick. Moving the joystick around and clicking plus gives you a point, and moving it to the other side, click plus again, and then all you need to do is click the record button and it does its thing.
Yes, at this stage the how-to guy was contemplating his life choices and why he even started YouTube in the first place.
Holding the trigger down at the back and the joystick up allows you to zoom in up to 3x. Let me show you some examples of this.
There, so we can zoom in, punch in, that's 1.9 times, 2.93 times, that's 3x zoom, and let's zoom all the way out again, and that's back to 1x. This is the way to film a YouTube video. Never worry about the background, it's all about you.
Your video editing settings allow you to go into exposure settings. This allows you to see your exposure compensation. I leave it on 0.7, but you can go into manual exposure, which gives you shutter speed, ISO. There's also an available option for your white balance. I just use auto exposure and set my exposure compensation to plus 0.7.
Now the Snap G does allow you to shoot 4K 60 as mentioned before, but there is an internal 1080p 4x slow motion. Let me show you a little quick clip.
Once you have a Wi-Fi connection to the app, you'll see there's a live streaming feature. I have not tested this. Note that you can shoot 4K hyperlapse and time-lapse using the app or the device itself. I set some points from A to B and got this MotionLapse. You can obviously do a hyperlapse, which I don't do much of, but I wanted to give somebody an example of what the 4K hyperlapse looks like.
The cheapest version of the Snap G, I think it's $289 US, which isn't a bad price considering what this thing can do. You can order, I think for it's $330 you get 2 batteries. I think you need 2 batteries for this thing. I find the battery only lasts about an hour, it tends to go from 50% down to 0 pretty quickly, but it is a 2000 milliamp battery. I'll have to do more testing, but it's nice that there is a removable battery, which means you can take 2 or 3 batteries with you for the whole day and you're not going to run out of battery power. Hopefully you enjoyed this video. Let me know what you think of the camera. I'll leave a link in the description. See you again next time.